Who is the worst attention W you've come across? Story 1. Girl in college would constantly try to get attention. Oh, my boyfriend dumped me. My new guy beats me. I'm gay. I'm not gay. I own a signed Kurt Cobain bass guitar. But by far the worst one, I was R'd and the guy got sent to prison. Gave people a paper cut out of a R case because it looked odd. So I tracked it down using the Google and found she had altered it and it was some other girl. We all cut ties with her after that. Effing psycho. Story 2. My fiancé has been my best friend since we were kids. Once in high school, he was dating a girl who decided that after scaring the crap out of him by trying to cuff him off the bed against his will, she was going to threaten to kill herself if he dumped her. About 10 years later, I ran into her at a party. She was there with her husband and infant son, not the kind of party you take a baby to, but okay. She proceeded to tell me how they never technically broke up since, being 15 years old, his answer to, "If you dump me, I'll kill myself," was to just stop talking to her. And because of that, they were technically still together and she was cheating on him with her husband, making her son a bastard. She was 100% serious and she also told me to tell him she wanted an apology. This was in front of a lot of very stunned people. The law states you must actually say the words "we are breaking up" or you aren't broken up. The ancient relationship's magic make this true and he is bound to her. Story 3. There's a girl in my college classes who claims her dad owns a huge soccer team but doesn't know the name. She's dating one of the LA Lakers but can't give his name out, but she is also talking to someone who's in the NFL to keep her options open. She says her dad works at a local steel factory and has no idea where his extra money comes from because he gives her hush money, then calls another girl out in class for lying to fit in. Story 4. The worst and the best. We were young kids in London back in the day. George O'Dowd, aka Boy George. Hey, I was in Attention W too. The best thing about him was early on he became a pop star and stayed being one. There was no other possible world for him to thrive in. Proud of him. Story 5. This girl I know would trip and would make a big scene about it. She would even overdo tripping and then say, "Wow, no one saw that?" Then talk about how no one in our town likes her and that the only time people talk to her is when they need her help. Well, she is extremely obnoxious. Like, if someone laughs at her jokes, she would like to say it over and over again. It is high-key annoying. Story 6. This girl in 8th grade claimed she was depressed and self-destructive. She was popular, so everyone believed her and felt bad for her. She got all kinds of attention for it. There was this kid in the same grade who was actually depressed, and he tried hanging himself on a doorknob in the back of our class when no one was looking one day. And in an odd way, he became popular because of it. She decided to do the same thing one day in class, except no one noticed her doing it until she passed out and had to go to the emergency room. Okay, first, that is a terrible way to try to get attention, but also, don't assume someone is saying stuff about being self-destructive just for attention, no matter what kind of person they are. Treat that crap seriously and talk to someone. Story 7. I once knew a woman who would come to our dorm room, all-male dorm, all-woman friends. She would bring brownies and cookies that she just baked. Then she would insist that we all try one, including the women. After everyone had had one, she would refuse to try one and say she can't because she's trying to lose weight, but she can never seem to go down a bra size. All the men liked her, all the women hated her. Story 8. This kid who is chilled out by now and I'm good friends with once was a huge attention W. One day he walked up to our table while we were peacefully playing Smash and pulled out one of those rolls of minty tape, that's what I call them, meant to make your breath minty, and says, "I'm eating this whole roll and none of you are ever gonna stop me, goddammit." And so we didn't. Story 9. My grandma has to make everything about her. Literally everything, no matter the person or situation. And if the convo switches to where it's not about her, she gets visibly annoyed and you can see the gears turning in her head as she tries to figure out how to get the conversation back onto her. She constantly retells stories she's already told 1,000 times back from when she was younger if she can't think of anything recent. If I have to ever again hear about how she was prom queen back in 1951 or valedictorian of her 10-person 8th grade class, or how wherever she goes anywhere, everyone just loves her. She literally says, "And you know, they just loved me all the time," I'm gonna lose it. Story 10. The lady that I work with is the biggest one I have ever met. In April, I had major surgery to remove half of my digestive system and was given a lot of attention from our concerned coworkers. She was not happy because she wasn't the center of attention anymore. Well, she found out she needed to have a DNC, outpatient procedure, to cauterize her uterus, and you're awake for the whole thing. She came into work, she decided to milk it for all she could. And when she came into work the next day, she was distraught over the fact that no one came to check up on her that night before, and wouldn't talk about anything but her recovery. By the end of the week, she was telling people she was recovering from cancer surgery. In fact, she still complains that she is recovering from it, and this happened back in April. She also told me, unsolicited of course, that the reason she didn't come see me while I was in the hospital was because her mom had died in a hospital 13 years ago. And she is still grieving, and going to a hospital would make her grieving process start all over again. I actually feel bad for her. Story 11. My high school ex posted a picture of a knife to his wrist on Twitter after I broke up with him for cheating on me and being a pathological liar. He told everyone to message me and talk to him. I cut off all contact, or he was going to kill himself. I hate that I was young and dumb, so it worked and we ended up back together. I once had a guy do that, but we were on like 3 dates, called the cops on his pathetic butt. He got all upset with me because his parents got angry with him. But I totally understand the young and dumb part, especially if you once cared about this dude and you don't want to see him in pain. Yeah, I mean, it's tougher when you're young with all the hormones, and frankly, it's tough even when you're older. When you've emotionally invested in someone, it's really hard to just turn that off, so don't feel bad. We've all been there, and plenty more will go there. Story 12. There was this British TV show about bad moms, and one of them made her daughter dress way older than she looked. Daughter wanted to wear a shirt and jeans to go out to eat. Mom made her wear tights, miniskirt, boots, tight tee, sleeveless overcoat, and a boatload of jewelry. Kid basically looked like she was in a Disney show, and would make her daughter randomly sing and do her cheer routine in public because you never know who's watching. People get discovered on the streets every day. My mom did this and it effed me up so bad. I wasn't allowed to pick out clothes until I was 14. She decided on my outfits and hair. I get it, she wanted me to look nice, but treating me like a doll wasn't the answer. I know it sounds dumb and weak, but it left trauma. If I didn't sit perfectly still for 1 to 4 hours while she did my hair, I got screamed at, my hair yanked on, and was denied food. Your mom sounds like a real piece of crap. I'm sorry, I know people get mad when you tell other parents how to parent, but that is some 100% bad parenting. Story 13. There was a girl in my college that constantly would say crap. During orientation, she told people she was recovering from brain cancer, didn't happen, and was partially deaf. She wasn't. She then found out my friend had epilepsy, so she started doing these exaggerated tremors. She then would fake seizures all the time for all the years she was there, which was a pain in the butt because I would have to treat them like real ones. She did it once during a power outage for the most attention possible. She did it so often that once 911 hung up on someone calling it in because they knew it was her. Edit. Since I keep getting comments about 911 hanging up, I feel like I should mention that the person who called was also a dispatcher. Story 14. There was a girl who used to be part of this group of friends that I saw on the odd occasion when I was teen. I only met her twice, but on both occasions she started to sing super loud whenever everybody else was talking and she was not involved in the conversation. I kind of have a friend who randomly bursts into songs in public. People in her life encouraged it for years and she just won't effing stop. She's terrible. She's also a total weeb and sings mostly anime intros, pronouncing every word wrong. Story 15. Got 2 gems. One, a high school friend. When his girlfriend talked about ending the relationship, he sent her a picture of him pointing his dad's gun to his head, saying the typical, "If you leave, I'll kill myself." And he always pulled that sort of drama antics. 2. At the high school graduation party at the hotel, they gave out sparkling wine without alcohol. I saw peeps chugging down glasses and then acting like they were really drunk. There was no bar or alcohol included in the party. In hindsight, they were cringy as F. Story 16. Knew a girl in high school that claimed to have DID, so you never knew who you were talking to. It was literally a, "that wasn't me, that was Patricia" situation. We all knew she was faking because there were always holes in her story. Mixing up details with the different personalities on top of a new character every week to blame her actions on. We just gave her the benefit of the doubt. 10 years later, she never mentions any of them again. Oh yeah, and she told me she, as a 10th grader, got paid to train horses to do tricks like circus crap. Then I forgot about it. The next day, I brought it up. As a cringy ex-horse girl, this one was the worst lie of all. I have no idea what that last one was about. I guess she didn't train horses. I don't know. But the pretending to have dissociative identity disorder is something I feel like we all knew someone who did that crap for attention. Starts off as a joke, but then they start to like the attention and ugh. Story 17. So far, the worst attention W I've encountered is a girl in my class. She goes out of her way to cause drama with both students and teachers purely for her own entertainment. It's so ridiculous and gets really over the top most of the time. The most memorable drama she's caused in my eyes is with a substitute teacher in Italian. She rarely pays attention in LOT and often ignores instructions from my normal teacher, so this is pretty predictable. She had her phone out, and of course, that day we had probably one of the most grumpy and strict teachers I've ever met. She refused to hand over her phone and did some extreme talking back. The teacher got so mad that she threatened detention and a plethora of other punishments, but even when she was sent to rethink, the title is self-explanatory, she refused. She left the class and came back repeatedly. It was one of the most frustrating things I've ever witnessed. Quite surprisingly, she got away with a lunch detention, even after talking back, refusing to leave, arguing to a teacher, and causing drama. Story 18. A friend joined me and 2 others in the Philippines for a couple weeks, despite her never having traveled before and despite her having 12,000 words to write for uni while we're there. About 5 days in, she goes storming off in El Nido in the pouring rain in the dark and claims she's tired. Tell her not to go, but by this point she's been crying and complaining about the trip all week. She's staying in a different room, so we didn't hear from her until the next day because reception told us she had checked out but left her watch behind. She wrote on Facebook we had been leaving her out, not true, and not being considerate towards her injury, a small graze on her leg. And we weren't being supportive with her uni work, aka not doing it for her. Oh, and by the way, we're all around 26. Story 19. My 2 ex-friends, they dated in high school, were forced to split because she was the legal age, 19, and he was 15. Got back together and just made a bunch of bad choices together, engaged after a month, and just constantly crying for attention. Everything he cooks, microwaves, goes onto Facebook and Snapchat with annoying voiceovers of her going, "Ooh, so good." Constant posts of, "Oh my god, I love my baby so much," with lovey-dovey photos of them, but they fight and break up more than anyone I have ever known. If he peed her off, she'd text me a picture of her engagement ring being taken off. They thought a friend snapped a picture outside of their house, and not going to see them meant he had to be planning on killing himself. Proceeded to spam all their mutuals with panicked messages until they found out it was basically just a, "Hey look, I was in your town" pic. Not only are they attention W's, but just a total hot mess altogether. I feel like these attention seekers and being a hot mess seem to go hand in hand most of the time. People like that are rarely seeking attention in healthy, non-messy ways. Story 20. A girl I know is always sick with something or other. She is also always whining about how the surgeons tell her she doesn't need operations. She persists, though, until she gets them. It's not a pain pill thing, purely attention. All she talks about is how terrible her XYZ is, and she can't work because of it. Then a month later, we never hear about the first problem again, and she now has ABC. She manages to get 2 shoulder operations, a knee reco, and an endo op. Surprise, surprise, the surgeon said she looked fine, and when they opened her up, and she never complained about those things ever again, and now has other things to do wrong which conveniently only affect her when she wants something. Story 21. College and high school. Lots of them. Girls and guys that would act drunker than they were at parties or bars to get more attention and get away with doing crap than falling back on the "I drank too much" excuse. In high school, it was more obnoxious and obvious, just more prevalent in college. They'd worked out the kinks by then, so it was harder to tell if they were faking it or actually just hammered. I have used that excuse myself, amazing how people actually buy that when you are young. They were more along the lines of attention S's. No one was paying them. When I was in middle school, these 2 guys I knew stabled horses at the barn I did. Well, one night we were having a small cookout and they started acting drunker than hell, saying that they drank too much beer. When I was sent to their father's truck to get hot dogs, I saw a half-empty case of root beer in glass bottles. I grabbed one and showed it to them. I called them out on their BS and they immediately sobered up. These were the same kids that tried to show off to me and a friend by identifying edible plants. They ate a bunch of poison ivy. My friend and I tried to stop them, but they didn't think girls could know what plants to eat. Please like and subscribe if you've made it this far. I hope you'll enjoy the rest of the video and have a wonderful day. Story 22. A little touchy, but here goes nothing. My brother was in a toxic relationship. He was physically and mentally being abused, not intimately. But he did manage to get his abusive girlfriend pregnant. It got to a point where he was actually crying because he just needed to come home with me to our mom. That was the last straw for me, so I said, "F it, come with me." So he grabbed his stuff and we literally ran from her. She was throwing his stuff out the door and screaming. We kept running, but then she yelled, "If you don't come back right now, I'm going to stick a knife in my pregnant belly." I wish I was making this up. We, of course, ran back to prevent this, so yeah, did they stay together? They did. My nephew just turned 6 and he is the sweetest little kid I know. Unfortunately, my brother and his girlfriend are both incredibly mentally unstable and we as a family have tried everything to help him, but most importantly, their kid. Nothing really worked. The kids are loved by both of them and in no way being abused, but their home environment is just terribly unstable. If you feel like you need to threaten self-harm in order to get someone to stay with you, just take a moment and think about if that is a relationship you want. Do you really want to be with someone who has to be coerced into being with you? I just don't get that mentality. Story 23. Sister-in-law. At her wedding, she did everything she could to steal attention away from her sister, my wife. She wore a dress that she'd already had altered to be both low-cut and short-skirted. Then, when no one was paying her attention, kept accidentally dropping things so she would bend over to pick them up. When her dad remarried, she was telling people at the ceremony that she had cancer but had come to terms with it. She didn't have cancer. I went to a costume wedding once. One woman, not the bride, wore her own wedding dress and claimed she was the bride of Chucky. A costume wedding? That sounds cool as hell. What did the couple go dressed as? Best costume there? This sounds really neat. Story 24. My roommate's cat died last week. When she told her coworkers, one lady proceeded to start telling a story about a cat she kinda owned that never even lived with her that died 5+ years ago. She got so worked up that she started crying and the entire office started consoling the coworker instead of my roommate whose cat had died the day before. Unbelievable. Story 25. There was a girl in my sorority who was apparently allergic to water, even though she was in swimming class with another one of my sisters. But that doesn't top the girl that apparently had brain cancer and would take any given moment to talk about how she'd been repeatedly assaulted. And look, I'm a victim of childhood assault and a survivor of R. In my experience, survivors don't just wave it around like a flag to get out of stuff. She definitely used it that way. There was also a girl in my sorority who claimed to have a phobia of the color yellow. Just stay away from my local sorority girls. National sorority girls are probably fine. She had a phobia of the color yellow? Did she also tend to wear a green ring? Did you ever hear her talking about brightest day and blackest night? Did evil ever escape her sight? Story 26. I worked in a remote restaurant somewhere in England. Unfortunately, I had to live in a confined area with 8 other people. One of them, the bastard in question, would constantly walk into people's rooms without knocking, would routinely walk up and yell in people's faces as a joke in Polish, constantly made intimately explicit jokes to the waitresses, and always had to be the center of attention. I do not miss that man. Story 27. Every other week, this girl, 22 years old, would say that social media is depressing and she would delete her account. She would be off of social media for a maximum of 2 days. She would delete her account and make another one at least 3 times a month and friend request everybody again. After the 5th or 6th time she added me, I stopped accepting her friend request because I was sick of her weekly meltdowns. She was also either asexual, bisexual, lesbian, or 100% straight depending on her mood. Story 28. I know a girl who tripped and started crying and screaming that someone pushed her when she was walking behind everyone. Played guys hard as well. I deadbutt took a 20-minute nap after she broke up with a guy because I didn't like him and she had a new boyfriend. Can't make it up. There was another girl too who tried to act cute and kawaii and would literally prance around as if her sneakers had trampolines in them. If you didn't look at her, she would pout and talk in this annoying baby voice where she tried to sound half her age while making gestures that 5-year-olds do when they pout and throw fits, and talked about being a witch who makes love potions. There's a lot going on there, but the one that really gets me is the baby voice. People who put on weird or annoying voices regularly are people whom I regularly avoid. Story 29. My ex-girlfriend. She lied about having a kidney transplant. Her excuse for not having scars was that she had dissolvable stitches. She pretended her kidneys were failing again during our relationship and pretended to be on kidney dialysis. She had me worried constantly because I genuinely thought she was dying. She also lied about having cancer when she was younger, being deaf, and having hearing aids implanted in her head that there were no visible signs of. She also posted her TikToks on her Instagram page. If that doesn't scream attention W, I don't know what to do. Story 30. A girl at my high school passed away in a snowboarding accident, and the whole school got together and made t-shirts, buttons, etc. in her memory to raise money for her funeral costs. Coincidentally, another girl had a skiing accident the next weekend which resulted in a concussion that left her unable to write, walk straight, or put together complete sentences. She made sure that people noticed her stumbling, stuttering, and poor motor skills. Oddly enough, the accident occurred on a day she was spotted with family in town a good hour and a half away from where the incident took place at the moment she said she was skiing. After a week of nobody caring, her motor skills improved to how she was before the accident. Funny coincidence, that is. Story 31. I didn't even realize this, but after scrolling through these posts, I have a friend who gets really mad if someone ignores her on a group chat, and she'll then keep reposting the message she sent over and over until someone replies. And when that inevitably annoys people, she will then put the old, "You all hate me, I don't know what I did, edit." Should probably clarify, we do not ignore her on purpose. It happens if we miss one message in 1,000. Story 32. My little sister. She cannot be in a room if everything isn't about her. She always talks about herself and struggles to pay attention to others unless what they say is about her. She's easily agitated and thinks highly of herself while everybody else is below her in maturity and intelligence. When she started losing attention in the family, she popped out a baby and now she's back in the spotlight full time. She's gotten a bit better recently, but I prefer to not be around her too much because she drives me nuts. Not a lot of specific examples in your story, OP, but I have to say, going through the process of having a baby just for attention shows a lot of dedication. I've at least got to respect the hustle, I guess. Story 33. My stepdad is pretty crazy. He likes being the center of attention and right about everything. He lies all the time and constantly insults people he doesn't agree with. He told me I would be nothing in life when I was 13. He outed his daughter to her religious mother to brag that she loved him more. After that, she stopped talking to him. He told his daughter she was the reason I was depressed and that she tore the family apart. He told her to kill herself. He even lied to her and said he was going to die soon in order to get her to contact him. He's done plenty of other things, but that puts him in the loco bin for me. Story 34. My old boss was always an attention W. One time he burned his foot on a George Foreman grill and got mad after no one paid attention when he told us not to pay him any mind. He also one time was pretending to commit self-termination so some of the workers would take him seriously. One of the worst events was that he got really mad at a Christmas party of ours and dressed up like Jesus because he was mad about not being the center of attention. It was ridiculous. Man, this boss sounds like a real big D. That's what she said. Story 35. Freshman year, me and an entire building are moving all of our stuff into our dorm rooms. We all had freshman orientation the next afternoon. After a day of moving boxed and bedroom stuff up hills and stairs, everyone was exhausted. We all just wanted to go to bed and sleep the next day since our orientation began the next afternoon. So the next morning at like 6:30, we all woke up to this one douchebag playing the violin in the stairwell of the building. Woke everyone up. And we all went to go see what was going on. He just wanted everyone to see he could play violin. We all groaned and rolled our eyes and went back to bed. This dude kept playing the same scale for like another hour, just wanting and waiting for more people to come and give him attention. Later, we found out he didn't really know how to play, but just knew that one scale and played it over and over again. Story 36. There was a kid at my school. People liked him, but knew he told a few porkies from time to time. He told us all that his granddad had recently died from cancer, obviously a sad situation. We all sympathized with him. A few weeks later, he comes off his moped, bangs his head, goes to hospital with a concussion. Whilst in bed, he's talking about his granddad and saying things like where he is and stuff. We found out his granddad was fine. One of my mates, whose granddad did actually pass from cancer, was furious with him. Why would you say something like that? Some people, man. Story 37. One of my high school friends used to lie all the time. No matter how much you called her out on it or how much proof you had, she'd just ignore you. Then, when she thought you'd forgotten about it, she'd horn her way back into being friends with you. It was an endless cycle. Literally could not shake her. I had been around her since we were kids. She lived up the street from me. I knew when she would lie. She'd say things like she had a brother, she was adopted, etc. None of that was true. The worst time was when we were juniors, she ended up getting pregnant. I knew as much dishonesty she had, she wouldn't lie about having an actual baby. She told me and another friend, and the next day she said she'd told her parents, as I had suggested, and told me they were being supportive of her. After that day, nothing was said about it. I didn't ask because it wasn't really my business, and I thought if she wanted to talk about it, she would bring it up. Fast forward about 7 to 8 months, she's obviously pregnant. She denies it when asked, saying she just gained weight. Her parents made her take a home test. She didn't tell them, not surprised, and it came back negative. I wouldn't be surprised if she had just run the test underwater. She could have avoided all the drama by being honest from the beginning. I don't speak to her anymore. Wow, that's a weird lie to try to stick with. I imagine her months later holding onto her baby and someone being like, "Oh my gosh, you had a baby?" And her just going, "Nope, what are you talking about? Like my new puppy?" Story 38. Our boss was throwing a Tupperware party at her house, kill me now, and those who were invited had to keep it on the DL since not everybody was. A few of us were talking about it in the break room when a woman who we knew was not invited walked in. As soon as she realized what we had been talking about, she immediately doubled over and clutched her stomach, crying, "I'm in so much pain!" and faked a stomach ache. I thought it was interesting that this woman was totally fine throughout the day, but was in so much pain whenever the party she wasn't invited to was mentioned, giving her an excuse not to go, but making sure all eyes were on her. Maybe this is why she wasn't invited. Story 39. Had this classmate who was an absolute diva. He would sashay into class and act like he was the boss, dictate who sat where, and just aggressively hit on the popular guys in class. He was our teacher's nephew and thought that entitled him to authority in the classroom. He was well behaved around parents and teachers, but to a lot of us, he was an all-around headache. I was enemy number one just because I was well-liked, barely. I mean, I had my annoying moments as well. And I could sing a couple notes higher than he could. He made it his mission to see me die socially. If I got good grades, he would accuse me of cheating. If I had a little extra money for recess, he'd buy a whole bunch of snacks just so I couldn't actually get anything. All the while, he flaunted how rich he was, how smart he was, how he didn't stink like I did. Funny how one bad day with diarrhea can just stick with you all your primary school life. I snapped when he told the class that he had seen me snogging my younger sister, calling me a sick pervert, how that is probably how my family is. How dare we call ourselves Christians? He stopped when his desk missed by inches and hit the blackboard instead. But that is a story for those who might be interested. It's me. I'm interested. Tell the story, damn it. Story 40. Someone I used to be friends with, his sister died in the Manchester bombings, and there was this one girl we all went to school with that made it all about her. She made out like it was her sister that died, constantly posting things on Facebook and generally making it all about herself, and she wasn't even close friends with her. She knew her through others and met her like once. And at the funeral, she decided to tell everyone about the guy whose sister died, that she sent nudes to her and loads of other inappropriate things that you shouldn't talk about with others, never mind at a funeral. She just begs attention constantly. I've never known anyone like her. Please leave your story in the comments. I would love to make a video on them in the future. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe.